Hello, everyone. We are here for the next edition of Current versus Classic. I am Craig Williams, and today I am here with Mr. Steve Porter.
Hello.
And Mr. Ryno Clavin.
Hello.
Yes, thank you guys both so much for being here today. Thank you guys for watching this. I hope you're going to enjoy it. It's going to be a fun one because we are choosing what you asked us to do. I don't know if I just said that properly. It doesn't matter if I did.
Is it a choice if they told us to do it?
We are choosing to do what they asked.
Okay.
Yes.
We could ignore them.
Yeah, we could have easily ignored everyone out there, but in the comments in the first couple of Current versus Classic videos we did, there were suggestions made on what we should cover next. And one of the ones that I saw a couple times pop up was doing Maelstrom versus Frozen Ever After. So I think this is a perfect one to do. So maybe this is just what we'll kind of do from now on. Whatever you post in the comments that you want to see next, that's what we'll do. Might be fun. So let us do this right now. Maelstrom versus Frozen Ever After. And we have to start with the classic, everyone misses it, Maelstrom. So, Maelstrom, you are not the first to pass this way, nor should you be the last.
Was that Kathy Bates from American Horror Story?
I believe it was, actually. Thank you. So let's talk about Maelstrom. So if you don't remember what it was, if you never got the chance to experience it, it was this great dark water ride in the Norway Pavilion. So this ride wasn't like an opening day attraction or anything. It actually didn't open up until 1988 with the Norway Pavilion. It wasn't one of the original World Showcase pavilions. And because of that, I always felt like Maelstrom never quite showed its age that much. Mm-hmm. It was old, but it didn't feel ancient. It didn't feel rusted out. And
yeah, I agree. I also think it helps that it was one of the few actual like ride attractions in the World Showcase. Yeah. So if you're a kid, you kind of got excited that there was any ride that you're about to get on. So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
So originally it was supposed to be Sea Venture and then turned into Maelstrom, which that is what we know and love it for now. So basically the ride was kind of a weird play on Norwegian culture. So, it wasn't a lot of the ride was actually trolls and such, but we'll kind of take you through the ride itself and that, you board your Viking ship in front of the awesome mural with the bearded man that Ryno dearly misses.
Made me laugh.
Yeah, you love your bearded men.
He had such glorious, majestic hair.
Is that the guy with the construction hat?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
That's the one. See?
Gone.
Even Steve knows him.
Gone but not forgotten. So you make your way around the turn. You start up that lift hill where the eye lights up and starts shining the lights at you and does the classic line, "You are not the first to pass this way, nor shall you be the last." And that carries you up into the ride itself, which you're heading through forest scenes before you eventually make your way to see trolls, which clearly aren't real. I think we can all agree on that, right?
I thought this ride was fact.
I don't really want to say that. And sorry, before you get to the trolls, I should say that you do pass along all like the Viking villages and you see the Viking way of life. But let's be real. That stuff was all just kind of a little added bonus before you get to the section with the trolls. Once you hit the trolls, that's where the ride gets really interesting because in an effort to make you disappear, the boat kind of shifts track and it actually then goes down a short little flume backwards where you travel past polar bears and just a little fun dip backwards, never anything too scary. But that's where you hit your next track switch section where your boat's kind of hanging out the back. So as you approached the Norway Pavilion from the outside, you always saw the boats backing up.
Yeah.
And you could see that from the little gap that was in there.
That's definitely one of the things I miss. And one of the things I did really like about this attraction is that there was the added feature of it. It was attached to the outside.
Yeah.
And they've kind of boarded that all up. So
Exactly. No. And so then you have another kind of mythical creature peeking its head up from the rocks, and a troll-like creature, and you do your final shoot down where you pass by the oil refineries, and one of the best endings, in my opinion, to any ride. It was just weird that you pass the oil rig and the lightning strikes, and then eventually you float into the sea town, which was there's something about when you float into the village right at the end, the ambiance in there, just like they had benches in there so you could literally just sit and hang out in there and spend time. Something that I enjoyed doing, especially as the ride was coming to a close. And then the final section was the 5-minute tourism film, The Spirit of Norway, which I don't know about you guys. That is something that when I first started going, I remember when you didn't have the option to skip the ride, skip the video at the end. Then towards the closing of the attraction and stuff, they just always left the doors to the gift shop wide open so you could just walk straight through it. But I always appreciated the films about Norway. That's where it kind of, with any film in any other country, I felt like that's where you were getting a little bit of the realism of what the country is like versus what you see in the attraction in itself.
Yeah, I think the films in the World Showcase and The Spirit of Norway included are one of those opportunities where you can kind of, for families that want to make Epcot like an educational experience, you have that to offer, and they don't have that, obviously.
Exactly. So in 2014, Maelstrom unfortunately closes down, so that way it can be replaced with an attraction based around Frozen, and that is where we got Frozen Ever After that opened up just a little over a year ago in June of 2016. So when they did close down Maelstrom, they actually didn't change too much in terms of the ride track itself. What they did have to do is they kept the same ride track, but where you actually exited on Maelstrom, that ended up becoming the new loading area for Frozen Ever After. So you start a little ways up, and it takes a little bit longer to get to that first lift hill. And then, as Steve mentioned, in terms of the exterior of the Norway Pavilion, that great little hole where you got to see the boats in their track switch, that is no longer there. That was sadly covered up, but understandably so. Frozen is very dark on the inside, so any light at all would really kind of hurt it. So Frozen Ever After, essentially this attraction is kind of sort of sequel to Frozen in a way. I mean, it's kind of, but it's also, it's like a retelling of Frozen, but it's not like 100% accurate at that. It's, it's a way to get Frozen in, and not have it make a too much sense. So it takes place during the summer season where everyone is celebrating the Winter Festival, and that is your plot line. So you start off and you head out into the attraction, and you first come about this amazing Olaf animatronic that is moving around, and he's going to introduce the story for you that's about to be told. You then get to see the trolls, which is a very, very cool portion of it, and then you eventually go up and you make your climb up the hill, and that's where you get to see Anna and Kristoff singing their hearts out to I don't know what kind of delight, some sort of delight. But the big climax point of the attraction is then when you start to pull into Elsa's ice palace, and she's on top of her balcony singing Let It Go. And that's where you still have the track switch that we talked about before in Maelstrom that will switch, and then Elsa will essentially kind of push you away as she sings out Let It Go, and you move backwards, and it's perfectly timed to the music, and the ice kind of follows you down and around. Just a really great sequence, and eventually you back your way into the point where you're about to turn again, and you have Snowflake, the big giant ice monster.
That was Marshmallow.
Marshmallow, sorry, thank you, Marshmallow. That was my bad. And the snow geese. I do know the snow geese. They were all there too, and that's how the ride essentially finishes off for the second climax. It does happen, and it goes straight down the hill, and then there's the celebration right at the end where everything's wrapped up neatly in a fun little Frozen way. Very popular ride, still has tons of long lines. You're able to get a fast pass for it. Day of, if you're smart, you know how to get day of fast passes. Other than that, though, it's usually extremely busy, and for good reasons, because it's a good attraction and it's also based on Frozen, which everyone loves Frozen. So, guys, what are your thoughts, opinions on the two?
I think that they're both actually good attractions. I think they both offer something fun and thrilling. I think the scene where the troll, so you go backwards, or Let It Go, you go backwards, is still great and fun. The only thing I don't like about Frozen, which you mentioned, is the long lines. You cannot just hop on this ride like you could with Maelstrom. Maelstrom usually had a 20-minute wait sometimes a little bit more, but usually only about a 20-minute wait. Frozen, you're looking about 120-minute wait sometimes. Sometimes less, but yeah, it's not an easy ride to just jump on, and I like to just jump on rides. So I don't know. This is a tough one for me, because I think that Frozen does offer the technology and some of the cool animatronics that Maelstrom didn't have. So right now it's kind of a toss-up. Yeah,
no, the animatronics are amazing. But while you think about that, Ryno, what are your thoughts, feelings?
I hate Frozen.
Boo.
I know. I just don't like the movie. It's just what it is. What it is. I know. I'm a Debbie Downer. But I'm going to be fair here. As much as I love Maelstrom, and I liked when I was a kid, I didn't do a lot of attractions, but I did this one, and the drop was always really exciting. And I remember the boat coming out of the back, and I thought we were going to die, and it was fun. And in fact, this is the attraction I was on when then it started downpouring, and this is where I was almost the year I was almost struck by lightning at Epcot. And so I do have a little bit of a little fond memory of the original attraction, but there's no denying that the current Frozen Ever After, it has what I would say are some of the most, if not the most advanced animatronics at Disney. Well, I guess not now because of
the shaman,
the
is
singing
now
shaman,
better,
but I think they took something that was there and. It's hard because it doesn't really fit in with what the original idea of Epcot is. It's kind of like Arendelle isn't a real place, but it is based on Norway. So does it belong there? Does it not belong there? But regardless of where it is or what it whether it should be there or not be there, I still think that the technology employed in the attraction, I think it's a feat.
I had mentioned this in a past show or article. I don't remember at this point, but I had wished that they had still kind of combine the culture of Norway into this attraction somehow. Maybe Anna and Elsa were visiting Norway from their homeland, or I don't know. It feels like it's not part of the world show. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it fits the same way that.
While you guys decide which side of the fence you're on, I've already thought about it, so I know. With that statement being said, to me, Epcot has never been what Walt wanted it to be. Mm-hmm. It just hasn't. So they kind of made their new Epcot, and part of that was World Showcase. The entire thing was based around pavilions, like a World's Fair, where you're just getting a little taste of what the company's sponsoring, what the culture wants to put out there, and that's essentially what it was with Maelstrom. While trolls and myths and Vikings, that's all a part of the culture of Norway, at the end of the day, it really didn't answer a lot of questions about what is Norway. The 5-minute movie at the end of the attraction did a better job of explaining to you why you should go to Norway than the ride itself did. Mm-hmm. Frozen, yes, it has nothing at all to do with Norway itself. I'm not going to sit here and try to argue that it does. Yes, the locations are loosely based on what you would see in Scandinavian territories, but it's not anything to do with it. But for me, any of the countries in World Showcase, where you get that learning experience from isn't from movies or from dining or shopping. It's about going in and actually experiencing conversations with the cast members that are in there that are actually from those countries. That's where you learn their culture, their heritage, speaking with them, whether that is because you're dining. Talk a little with your server and get to know them, know like where they came from. Like, hey, is this food actually even close to what you eat? Find out yes or no. I'm guessing in a lot of cases it's more on the no side than the yes. With the shopping, say like, oh, ask them. What like crap that you can actually get over there, or this stuff they're just slinging at Disney because they know you'll buy it. Getting beer, ask them what they like about that. That's how you get to know more about the culture, is through the people. So at the end of the day, Frozen, while it's not an accurate representation of Norway, it gets you to come into the pavilion and walk through and have these chances to interact with these cast members who can actually sell you on the countries and teach you a little bit about it. But you have to do a little bit of the work with it. So for that reason, technologically speaking, the getting people to go into the Norway pavilion itself, I would choose Frozen Ever After over having Maelstrom there. I loved Maelstrom for no waits and a nice, easy, gentle boat ride that was fun and had some great lines, had some, awesome scenes. But at the end of the day, Frozen just does more.
I agree with you. I'm as much as I don't like Frozen, I'm not denying that the attraction has an appeal to many, and that it is. I don't think it's a bad attraction. I just don't. The story is a little muddled. But it's like, I still think, for me, it's about like, am I seeing that cool Disney technology? Yeah. And I feel like I am. I know not every attraction has to be that, but I think it advanced what was there. And I think it feels like this was something that people worked on and they were like, we're going to make something that's really good. Whereas the other one was like, okay, well, we're going to do something here and put these like stand-in things. Yeah. There's not a lot of motion, not a lot of things happening. And so I will say that I think there is an improved attraction where one once was. As much as I loved the other one, and the other one holds a better place in my heart than Frozen, because I could care less if they rip Frozen out tomorrow. But I still think that if you neutrally say it, it's a better attraction.
I will say Craig did some good convincing, but I'm still going to stick with Maelstrom as my favorite, just on shorter wait times. I think overall, Frozen makes more sense for Disney. I think that Disney made the right decision. I'm just saying, for my personal beliefs, being able to get on a short ride, enjoy a 20-minute wait, and get on a ride I like is my preference.
No, it's okay. So we have, in this room, we have two voting for the current Frozen Ever After and one voting for the classic Maelstrom. And, I'm sure this will be very, very down the middle in terms. So we want to hear what you guys have to say. So where you can voice your opinion is in the comments down below, and make sure you share this because I want to hear what a lot of people's opinions are. So we need to get this out there as much as possible. Also, along with that, if you have any ideas for what you want to see next on current versus classic, please leave that in the comments below as well too. So make sure you're subscribed to us here on YouTube and hitting that thumbs up if you like what we do, and checking out all of our other videos. But thank you guys so much for this fun little conversation we had. Thank you everyone out there who watched this video, and we will see you next time with another current versus classic. Have a good one.